Om Sri Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Voice of God, Volume 1. Main title, Common Dharmas. Chapter 53. Service to Others. Paropakaram. Vedic Dharma ordains the duties towards the Pitrus, Veda Yajna, which is actually an offering to the Lord, feeding all creatures, etc. Thiruvalluvar also lays down the same Dharma to support ancestors, gods, guests, kith and self is the fivefold duty of a householder. This is one of the Kural verses which support the view that Valluvar wrote his Kural by respecting the authority of the Vedas. Some people are of the view that Thiruvalluvar was not a follower of the Vedic religion, he was a Jain or a Buddhist or who was beyond all religions. Valluvar is openly critical of the yajna which involves violence and is a part of Vedic Dharma. They point to the following Kural verse: not to kill a creature and eat its meat is nobler than 1,000 offerings to fire. The meaning of the above Kural is, it is much nobler to desist from killing any animal and eating it than to perform 1,000 yajnas in which havis is offered to the fire. Even after reading this, my view is that Thiruvalluvar had total faith in all the Vedic observances. If someone who wants to praise Kaveri says a Kaveri is greater than 1,000 Ganges, it would mean that Ganges is also great. Would one who wants to praise Kaveri say Kaveri is greater than 1,000 sewerage canals? In the same way, when Thiruvalluvar says that Ahimsa is greater than 1,000 yajnas, it would mean that yajna is also great. Is it not the practice to mention one which is great and then say another thing is greater than that? This Kural has not been included in the Illara Iyal, the chapter dealing with family life, but in Thuravara Iyal, the chapter dealing with renunciation. The Thuravi, Sannyasi, has no right to perform yajnas. It is only for him that the Vedic religion has prescribed total ahimsa. Valluvar also explains the same ideal. Thiruvalluvar, who has given a book useful to the whole world, was not an atheist disapproving of the Vedic way. What Thiruvalluvar calls Virundu, which is Virundombal, is called Manushya Yajnam in Vedic religion. If it is elaborated, we can call it Annadanam. In every family, when rice is put into pot for cooking, thinking of the Lord, a handful should be separately put into a container meant for the poor. What is thus accumulated in several houses should be collected area-wise, cooked, offered to the Lord, and then given to the poor there. Along with a handful of rice, 1 paisa should also be put daily. That paisa, when collected, will be used for purchasing fuel for cooking or vessels and a few subsidiary things to be added to the food offered. It is a great help to others to execute this plan. The poor who are hungry, if they thus get food at the temple, they will be happy in mind and satisfied in the stomach. This may encourage the practice of going to the temple, and devotion will develop. Instead of being mere food, since it is prasad from the temple, it will give mental purity also. Charitable giving of food is a part of philanthropy. What is being done today as philanthropy and social service with a lot of publicity was being done in the olden days by people on their own quietly. This is called Purta Dharmam. Digging wells and dams, Annadanam to the people, and building temple for their spiritual well-being, and putting up gardens as adjuncts to temples, etc., are all included in Purta Dharma. In this, digging of wells and tanks has been enumerated first. That is why, even in day-to-day talk, we ask, what is he doing? Is he digging? In case someone fails to turn up when called. Digging is such a big dharma. If a tank is dug up outside the village in the grazing plots for the cows and other animals to drink water and satisfy their thirst, it is a very great virtue. People in a village or in an area should come together without distinction of rich and poor, take the tool and engage themselves in such physical tasks which are in the nature of service to others. By this, social unity will grow. Is there not education to purify the intellect, meditation to purify the mind, and reciting slokas to purify speech? In the same way, to purify the body, service should be rendered with the body. With more and more labor, the mind will also get purified. When all people join together without distinction of high and low and engage in digging, the ego too gets dug up and removed. More than the water that surges from the ground in a tank, the love that surges in our heart is important. There is no need for outward show and any kind of demonstration. Each one, if he goes without the knowledge of others to a pedestrian path and removes the glass pieces which may be found on the pathway, that would be philanthropy. It will also help to purify the mind and give spiritual benefit. Looking at everything as images of the Lord, let us use our hands and feet which God has given us in the service of others. Om Sri Mahaperiyava Sharanam. Jai Jai Shankara. Hare Hare Shankara.